Hi there, everybody. This is Bill MacDonald, the reading and writing doctor. If you take a look at the books behind me, a lot of things might come to your mind: fiction, nonfiction, some of your most enjoyable books that you read growing up. Well, the question that we're going to look at in just a moment talks about one of the conflicts that the speaker of a poem has as she writes, and it asks for a sentence. And so, even though this year's this past year's questions were all multiple choice, I felt like I needed to kind of show some guidance and some direction to all of those of you who are trying to prepare your students for next year, when the short constructed response questions start, as well as the short answer and even extended essay responses like the one that we just recently did with third through fifth. So a conflict is a problem, an issue, something that a character or characters have to overcome in a selection. So as we read, we have to just look for something, because it's open-ended and not multiple choice. We have to look for something that could become a barrier to success. And if I was not able to read any of these books, I probably wouldn't be able to write anything either. And so when the young lady in the poem gets a composition notebook placed in front of her, then that should trigger the reader, us, to think, well, if she doesn't know how to read or to write, that's going to make it very difficult to enjoy, to actually put to use the composition notebook. It'd be like having a car and having no earthly idea how to drive. Some of my own family members, my mother, my three of my children, do not yet know how to drive a vehicle. So we've been practicing. A couple of them I haven't practiced with my mom. She's one of those, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to kill somebody or myself. So let's take a look and see one way to go about getting 2 points. If you think of the question as the red light, the answer to the question will also be the red light. So think of it kinesthetically like this: what is the question? Red light. What is the answer to the question? Red light. And where can you prove it in the text? And so since they're asking for a sentence, think of a sentence as a smarty and a detail as just a dum-dum. Then I've got to be able to find a sentence that actually responds, and then be able to tell you where in the poem I can prove that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the question in question. For those of you who have the third through fifth grade practice reading test, it's going to be question number 4. Which sentence, singular, in the selection expresses a conflict for the speaker? So my subject is the speaker, so I always like to draw a little stickman about whoever my subject is. And a conflict is something that's a need, a barrier, a problem. So a 2-point value in short answer means be sure to answer the question, number 1, for the first point, and give the evidence from the text to support your answer. And just so you can see, in 2019, a 4th grade question that asked your students about conflict, number 14 on our state test, only half of the students were able to do that. And so it's going to be even less because the 4 answer choices are not going to be there in many cases this coming year. So this is what I came up with. One difficult aspect for the speaker, I don't have to say which sentence in the selection expresses a conflict for the speaker. You don't have to restate the question. You can rephrase the question. You can reuse some of the words in the question. So instead of conflict, aspect, difficult being the conflict portion, for the speaker in the poem is her inability to read or write when she first receives her composition notebook. Okay, so lines 6 and 7. So when you go there, if you were to physically write out the lines, which I didn't do just to save time for you, I don't know how my first composition notebook ended up in my hands long before I could really read words or write letters. So question number 4, red light, that's a conflict. Okay, and where did I get the other part? One day it was just there in front of me. But the question, the part that has to be there is the sentence that shows in some way a conflict for the speaker, which is the person who wrote this poem. And so I would say that's a problem, to have a really great composition notebook, but not even being able to know how to read or write. If she just says, forget it, it's too hard, I'm not going to bother, and she would throw away the composition notebook, then since this was based on a real person named Jacqueline, she would have never written all of these free verse poems that we now have the benefit of learning from her and her culture, the things that she grew up with, and the things that she dealt with as a child and as an adult. So that's what I would say. And I did, just for the sake of proving the answer, line 6 and 7, and then on line 1, one day it was right there in front of me. That's the good thing. But the part that would have to be there, that if you want to actually write it out, the words from line 7, you can put them in quotation marks, but you do have to probably say in stanza 2, lines 6 and 7. And then we would say these exact words that are there. She writes, I don't know how my first composition notebook ended in my hands long before I could read words or write letters. And so why is that a problem? Unless she learns how to read and write, the composition notebook will be completely useless. That's why that's a conflict. So you might encourage your students to not just rewrite the words from the text, because all you're doing is writing text. You're not really answering the question. Why is it a conflict? Because it makes something useless if you can't even use it for its intended purpose. So there you go. Just to kind of get you ready, let's make sure that we spend a lot of time reading and writing so that we can all become avid readers, and some of us out there will become great writers and be able to share our experiences with others in the form of fiction or nonfiction, or like my son's been doing for UIL in journalism. So God bless you guys. Please share this video with some of your teacher friends. Like it on the YouTube video. Subscribe to my channel if you would. That would be kind. And share or tag the video for your friends who are trying to get ready for next year's short answer questions that require you to go to the red light by answering the question, and the yellow light by saying, where is the answer? And of course, you sort of have to to fully have the best chance of getting that second point explained to the reader. Why is that so? If you think of W and WW, what is the answer? Where is the answer? Why is it the answer? And I think that your students will be able to easily get 2 points by getting what I call the red and the yellow light portion of the question correctly. Correct, excuse me. Take care and enjoy your week.